Right this very second, as you're just sitting there, your body is running thousands of unbelievably complex operations, and it's all on complete autopilot. It's managing your energy, it's prepping you for danger. There's this hidden command center making critical decisions every single moment. So today, we are going to pull back that curtain and take a look at this amazing internal world.
Oh, we have all been there. That sudden shock, a close call on the road, and your body just takes over. Your heart is pounding in your chest, you start to sweat, the world suddenly comes into super sharp focus. Well, that is exactly the state Mong Jun found himself in.
So what in the world just happened inside his body? I mean, it feels like magic, but it's not. It's an incredibly powerful biological response. A lightning-fast communication system just kicked into high gear to get him ready for what it saw as a major threat. And to understand how it did that, we need to meet the messengers.
And these messengers? They're called hormones. The best way to think of them is like your body's own wireless network. They send these critical signals from one part of you to another without any physical connection at all. They are literally the chemical architects of how you feel and how you react every single second of the day.
Okay, so this brings us to our very first stop, the endocrine system. This is the collection of glands that actually produce and release all of these powerful chemical signals we're talking about. And every great show has to have a director, right? Well, in your body, that's the pituitary gland. It's tiny, but don't let its size fool you. It's the master gland that's basically telling all the other glands what to do and when to do it. It is mission control for your entire hormonal network.
All right, so let's actually see the system in action. We're going to tackle two really common mysteries: how your body responds to a sudden crisis and what it does when your energy supply just suddenly crashes.
So, let's go back to Mong Jun. That intense fight-or-flight feeling he had, that was triggered by his adrenal glands, which sit right on top of his kidneys. They released a flood of a hormone called epinephrine, which we all know as adrenaline. And the result? Exactly what he felt. A pounding heart, sweating, and that razor-sharp focus. It's the perfect toolkit for surviving a dangerous situation.
Now let's look at a totally different kind of crisis. Meet Maurice. She's been so busy, she completely forgot to eat. And all of a sudden, she feels weak, a little dizzy. Her body's fuel gauge is basically blinking on empty. So what system is going to kick in to save her?
Well, her hero in this moment is the pancreas, which actually plays two perfectly opposite roles. See, when you eat, it releases insulin, we can call it the storage manager, to help your cells absorb sugar from your blood. But when your blood sugar is low, like Maurice's is, it releases glucagon, the energy releaser. This hormone tells her liver to release stored sugar, which quickly brings her energy levels right back up from that dizzying low. From chemical messengers, let's switch gears to a different kind of regulation. It's time to talk about the body's incredibly sophisticated water treatment and waste disposal system, the urinary system.
And here's a scenario that I think perfectly explains a key function here. Da Dong, who's a nurse, observes something that many of us might be familiar with. After a few beers, his patient is making a lot of trips to the bathroom. So why does alcohol do that? The culprit here is the suppression of a hormone called ADH, or antidiuretic hormone. Just think of ADH as the water-saving hormone. It's sent out by the pituitary gland, and it tells the kidneys to reabsorb water. But alcohol blocks ADH. So without that save water signal, the kidneys just kind of let it all go. And that leads to that large volume of, well,
So who's actually listening to that ADH signal? The real workhorses doing all this filtering are called nephrons. Get this. Each of your kidneys contains over 1 million of these microscopic powerhouses, and they are just cleaning your blood around the clock. Let's take a quick look at how they do it.
This whole filtration process is like an incredibly smart quality control line. Okay, so first, nearly everything gets pushed out of the blood during filtration. Then, in reabsorption, the body meticulously pulls back all the good stuff it wants to keep, like water, salt, and sugar. And then finally, in secretion, it adds any last bits of waste to the pipeline. It is an astonishingly efficient system for keeping the good and tossing out the bad.
So we've seen how the body maintains itself, but what about creating new life? Well, that brings us to our next system, the reproductive system, the biological blueprint for the future.
At its core, the system really relies on these primary organs. In males, you have the testes, which are basically factories for both sperm cells and the hormone testosterone. In females, the ovaries produce eggs, but they also orchestrate this incredibly complex monthly cycle using hormones like estrogen and progesterone. The key thing to remember here is that in both systems, these organs have a dual role.
They make the cells and the hormones that govern the entire process.
And this brings us to our final case file, which is a really practical question that perfectly separates two of these key functions. Sir Nards has a vasectomy. So how can this procedure stop him from being able to father children without impacting his hormones or his masculinity at all?
The answer is all in the anatomy. See, a vasectomy cuts the ductus deferens, which is simply the tube that transports the sperm. The sperm themselves are still being produced in what are called the seminiferous tubules. But, and this is the crucial part, testosterone production happens in completely different cells, the interstitial cells. So the procedure blocks the delivery route for sperm, but leaves the hormone factory completely untouched.
So we've toured the body's messengers, its filtration plant, and its blueprint for new life. And they might seem like totally separate systems, but the real magic is in how they all connect in one great balancing act.
Just look at this. It shows the direct lines of communication perfectly. The endocrine system releases hormones like ADH and aldosterone, and these act as direct orders to the kidneys, telling them how to manage water and salt. But it is a two-way street. The kidneys can even talk back by releasing their own hormone, renin, to help regulate blood pressure. It's this constant, collaborative dance.
So if there's one key takeaway, it's this. Your body isn't just a collection of independent parts. It's one deeply integrated machine. The endocrine, urinary, and reproductive systems are in constant conversation, making millions of tiny adjustments every single day to maintain that perfect, delicate balance that we call life.
And all of this, the hormone signals, the filtration, all the feedback loops, it's happening inside you, right now, without a single conscious thought. It's just an amazing silent symphony. It really makes you wonder, what's the most incredible part of this internal autopilot that you just learned about today?